Hey guys, it's LSuperSonicQ here with week number 2 of the month of Animal Crossing. So, in today's video, I'm going to be showing off my Animal Crossing sculptures. Now, some of these I've shown before, some of them I haven't, some of them are just really old and a lot of people probably don't remember them. So it'll just kind of be a fun little video showing all of my sculptures from the series that I've made over the course of the years for various different reasons. So, oh, okay. I was looking for a certain one because I wanted to say. So let's start with the first one that I remember making, and it was this Tom Nook. So I remember, oh man, way a long time ago and stuff. Like before I even had an Animal Crossing, the trophies in Melee, there was a Tom Nook trophy, and I was, I didn't have the game, but I'm like, oh well, I know Tom Nook is from the game, so I'm like, let's make a sculpture of him. So that's what I did, and this was the very first Animal Crossing sculpture that I made. So I think it's actually pretty good. I mean, Tom Nook is pretty simple, but I mean, for the most part, he's pretty proportionate and stuff. And oh, his apron looking like this definitely proves that he's from the trophy in Melee, because in the American version they changed that to like the little acorn. So it's just a nice little minifigure. It looks good. So, but it's funny because this actually kind of went through some evolution. So I made this one, and then for some reason I'm like, well, wait, doesn't he have like weird like whiskers or something? Like, isn't his head shaped a little differently? And instead of like going to look back at the trophy in Melee, I just decided to make a new one, and I'm like, yeah, that this looks more accurate. He definitely has like whiskers or whatever. And then I made this, and the more I looked at it, I'm just like, wait, I don't think this is right. So as a result, I ended up making a third one, and this one is probably the most accurate. It's based on the American game. At this point, I had the American game, and even from the original, it just looks a little bit more accurate because the nose is bigger and the eyes are sculpted a little better. So kind of interesting, just the evolution of these three Tom Nooks. So I'll put them in the back here, and then kind of to go along with this Tom Nook, I believe. I don't think it was the first one. I think it was the third one. I made a KK. So here he is. Pretty accurate, except the box doesn't have like any detail on it. But he's sitting in his typical KK pose, or his classic KK pose, I should say. The face is pretty good. The guitar is kind of, but I mean, at the time, what do you expect? So it's overall a really solid model. And then to go along with KK, I made a villager, and this was, I guess, kind of supposed to be like me, even though it's just kind of really generic and stuff, just with like the green shirt or whatever. And this base actually came afterwards because he didn't stand up, so then I had to kind of, mush him onto a base. But these three are pretty much the original three models. So, kind of in conjunction with those, the game was really fun, but I wanted that physical representation of, the game. And I think that this must have been, probably way before I even knew that there were figures in existence. Or if I did know that they were in existence, I didn't have any of the figures at the time. So my brother and I decided to make our own little figures in our own little village. So I'll go through some of these in here. Now, for the record, we did have a lot of big houses, but I can't find those. I'm thinking they were probably in the same box that these guys were in. Yeah, on-screen picture of, these like really big house models. I don't know where they are now, so I'm guessing all those big houses are lost all in the same place. But I'll go through these little villagers and stuff. So he's just a green squirrel. I don't think he really has a name. Some of these we just made for no reason. Here's a red squirrel. There are some recognizable ones though, like Punchy. Definitely one of my favorite villagers from the original game. And they're not really in scale, but we just wanted some kind of representation of a village. We didn't really care about scale or anything. Here's dude, it's Jay. Okay, it's definitely Jay. I was confusing Jay with Ace, but Ace is different, so that's definitely Jay. Here's Cube. Here's Pearl. And some of these have really like hideous stands because we wanted to make them stand so they could walk around instead of like having to like lay down or whatever. But sometimes the legs would be so thin or whatever that we just kind of like mush them onto a base just to get them to stand. And the bases are pretty bad for the most part. Like I said, here's Gulliver. Not a bad Gulliver, to be honest. One of the more, like not villager characters. He's more like one of those, like a special character, I guess they're called. Here's Filbert. So that squirrel actually does have a name because we based it off of the in-game villager. Here's like me again. I don't know why I made myself with a green shirt all the time, but there you go. Here's KK. Here's Copper. He does have a where is it? He definitely does have his little like thing that he would use. But this is from Wild World, strangely. I guess maybe because the sculpt of the police uniform was like maybe too difficult for me or something, so I decided to base him off of Wild World for some reason. Here's another Tom Nook. This one. His tail's broken off, but it's probably in this box somewhere. But there you go. Not super accurate, but like I said, these weren't trying to be the most accurate things. Here's Rossetti. And like the dirt mound is like all up in his face or whatever. And the pickaxe is just a toothpick or whatever, but there you go. Rossetti. And then a net. I guess so I could hold in my hand, like, oh yeah. You know, you guys can get a sense of what we were trying to go for. A bag of bells, some fruit, a tree. I think my brother made those though. And then a fish that my brother also made. And you know, I'll show these off too, just because they're in here. My brother made Crazy Red, he made Static, he made himself. Really flat, but well, I guess he made himself again. Not so flat this time. And then just some random bear villager. And a fishing rod. And a smaller net. And oh, this is a Yoshi egg. I thought it was a pitfall. I don't know why that's even in there. And then just some more fruit. So that was kind of our village and all the stuff that, you know, we did with that. And while we don't have the houses, I do have some buildings. So here's Nook's Cranny, and here's the train station. So KK would sit on top of here. That's actually, I guess, why he doesn't have a box on him, is so that he could actually sit on the box. So that's pretty cool. And then Nook's Cranny you actually can't really do anything with, but it was just, we just used it in the town. So that was our Animal Crossing town. So the next kind of group of things I have to show are things in this cube. I did an in-depth series episode on these specifically, but I'll just go through them a little quickly. I won't show like everything in a lot of detail. I'll link the original episode though in the description if you want to see these in more detail. But essentially I did this set of villagers. They're all male villagers of the different like facial expressions, and they have different shirts on and stuff. And they're minifigures, which is what I was going for. So, you know, stuff like that. And then they all came with a different assortment of items. So there's like an R-Wing, like the dummy item. Crap, I forget what this is called. One of the stereos. Tokyo Tower. Maybe this is a high-end stereo, maybe? Like a kitty couch. So you guys get the idea. I wanted to... This set I was trying to directly replicate... the little minifigures, because I had some of the actual Animal Crossing figures at that time, so I'm like, well, wouldn't it be cool to like make my own characters and my own items and stuff, because like you can't get a dummy item with any of the official figures, so I'm like, well, wouldn't it be cool to sculpt my own? So I'll show the rest of these male villager faces. So those were the other 4. These are the remaining 4. They're all in scale with each other pretty well. I scaled the set pretty well for the most part, so there you go. And then I was going to continue kind of not so much the villager set as a whole, but I wanted to make other little characters and stuff that, again, didn't have real figures. So, like, Tom Nook in his Nookington's outfit and Copper in his aerobics uniform. I had some plans to do, like, Wisp and a couple other characters that don't have figures, like Franklin as well, but I only got around to doing these 2, so. And now the final Animal Crossing model that I have to show is this Brewster that premiered in Video Game Clay Models 11 last year. So this was a sculpture that had been in limbo for a long time because I started it, I just put it in my prototype bag / finish this eventually, you know, stuff, and it took quite a long time to finish it. One of the biggest reasons was because I wanted like some really good 3-dimensional, you know, images of him, because it was just going to be really hard to get in all the details and stuff. And yeah, I could have used my Wii, but it's just really hard sculpting from a table and like painting on a table, and then like looking at a TV across the room, you know? So once Smash Wii U came out, I was able to use the gamepad and really get a good three-dimensional, you know, viewpoint, you know, on the gamepad that I could put right, you know, with my paint, and I could paint directly from the gamepad pretty much. So that's largely why this was finished. But also, he went through some changes. Like originally, the head was a lot more like it wasn't sticking out this much. So I had to fix that because his head was like really skinny, and I'm like, well, that's not how it is. So I had to kind of, you know, pull it out. And then the paint details alone were just really hard to do. You know, all these little intricate things, and the wings. That was such a pain. And the feathers in the back and the legs. It was just it was really hard. But I'm glad that he finally saw completion, because Brewster is one of my favorite Animal Crossing characters, and I really didn't want to see it scrapped. So I'm glad I was able to, you know, to get it done. I had plans to do more of those. I haven't gotten around to them, but maybe maybe I'll try and revive the other plans I had, you know, and do some other like obscure characters, you know, like Brewster, you know, who don't get enough attention in merchandise or whatever. And also, I found Copper's little police thing. So, there you go. Alright guys, so that was pretty much the in-depth series on all the Animal Crossing sculptures that I've done. So, thanks for watching, and next week will be the third video of Animal Crossing month, and yeah, so thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more videos.